The iPhone 17 will be Apple's last iPhone. Wait a second, I've heard this story before. This is just some trash YouTube video. Why would Apple stop selling one of their greatest products ever? Well, the problem is the iPhone isn't all that great anymore. And what I'm saying isn't that Apple's just gonna stop offering the iPhone and just secede to Android, Samsung, and Google, but the iPhone that we've known for years and years now, it's coming to an end. A new chapter is starting for the iPhone, and it's one that Tim Cook and a lot of longtime Apple execs, they're not gonna like, because the Apple customers, the fans, they're in charge, and the iPhone is going in a totally new direction. And I'll come back to what that's gonna be, but first, let me ask you this. If Steve Jobs could see the Apple of 2025, what we've got today, what would he say? I think it'd probably be something like this.
From the way I see it, Apple was a company that was based on innovation. When I left Apple 10 years ago, we were 10 years ahead of anybody else. It took Microsoft 10 years to copy Windows. The problem was that Apple stood still. I think the way out is not to slash and burn, it's to innovate. That's how Apple got to its glory, and I think that's how Apple could return to it.
I'm not afraid to say it like it is. Tim Cook is certainly a better CEO for Apple if you care about the numbers and the margins and the profits and the spreadsheets. Apple is a very successful company under Tim Cook. But the Apple that had soul, the one that pushed the boundaries in terms of innovation and what everyone thought was possible in the tech space, that was way better done under Steve Jobs. And if you look at Apple in the late 90s, early 2000s, and what they were doing and what they were experimenting with compared to the Apple we have today, there's a stark difference. Some of you might, prefer what we've got now, but a lot of people, those longtime Apple fans that I know are watching this video, you miss the glory days of Steve Jobs as CEO. And I know the common argument these days, of course, is, well, Apple's never first to do anything, but when they do it, they always do it right and better than the competition. And while that kind of used to be the case, I'm not sure if it is anymore. And if you go back to Apple a couple of decades ago and you look at emerging technologies, people making websites and personal blogs, people editing, the early YouTube videos and things like that, Apple sort of had their hands in different parts of those industries. They had iMovie for very early video editing. They had iWeb, which was a website builder, and a number of other apps that have sort of gone by the wayside recently. It just goes to show that Apple was trying to trailblaze and trying to set sort of the status quo early on, and they were trying to experiment. And I feel like the Apple these days just doesn't really experiment. Look at the iPhone, for example, the subject of this video. Yes, there are some exceptions, like the iPhone 4 or the iPhone 10 moments, and yes, the iPhone has gotten steadily better and better over the last couple of years. But if I was to show you the iPhone lineup that's coming up in 2025, the iPhone 17, I'm sure you could use some words to describe it. But I don't think anybody would call it exciting or innovative or completely out of the box. It's very status quo, very predictable, which is unfortunately exactly what Apple has become lately. But you look at what Android phones have been doing for years and years and years now. Everybody's got a folding phone. Everybody's got experimental technology. Trends have come and gone, and Apple never jumped on the bandwagon, probably to their detriment and to the iPhone's detriment. It could have been so much better. And when you combine Apple's massive problems with Apple Intelligence with the fact that they lost Johnny Ive and basically the entire all-star design team that Apple once had, they're gone. Apple is losing top executives left and right, plus they're running into a number of legal challenges with the App Store and their Google search secret arrangement. Apple is in a bit of a bad situation, and they're being forced to make a couple of dramatic changes. Some that are finally going to happen that should make the iPhone so much better in a very short amount of time. And kudos to Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg for sort of reporting some of this breaking news and sharing how Apple is planning to totally revamp the iPhone experience from top to bottom. And we're learning why the iPhone is no longer going to be the iPhone we've come to expect. Reason number one is that finally it's getting some really exciting hardware changes. In fact, we're hearing right now that this year in 2025 is sort of a quick sprint for Apple of a 3-year blitz of changes. Starting this year with the iPhone Air, the first slim, thin, real big hardware change we've seen to the iPhone for years is coming this year. Next year, we're hearing that yes, the foldable is on track to release in 2026. Apple is entering the market with their very own foldable phone. It's going to have an array of high quality cameras. It's going to have some state-of-the-art technology with the display and basically being crease-free. It's going to be more like a book than sort of a smaller clamshell foldable. And while it might be expensive, probably at around $2,000, it's going to have a lot of cutting-edge innovation inside and out that should make it worthy, hopefully, of that higher end price tag. We're also hearing that Apple has some pretty big plans for a 20th anniversary iPhone coming in 2027. We're hearing that Liquid Glass, the software experience, is going to basically move to hardware. Think about like Samsung in the olden days of their curved OLED displays, so probably something similar for a 20th anniversary iPhone that should hopefully forego the notch, bring Face ID and the selfie camera under display, and do something truly remarkable. It seems like Apple is being forced to really step up their game in terms of hardware and make the iPhone way more compelling and way more competitive, because they've gotten lapped now over and over again by the competition. They're just not moving fast enough, and they're now being forced to make some pretty radical changes really quickly. The software side is also a similar story. Love it or hate it, iOS 26 is finally bringing us something different from the iPhone software experience. It's finally giving us this new Liquid Glass UI. It's got new elements, it's got refined apps. The problem though is that while that's great, everybody these days is working with new smarts and new capabilities and new AI things that Apple just can't seem to figure out. And now we're hearing they're getting so desperate that they're gonna basically forego their own efforts and might just partner up with Google, kind of their new modern day enemy, and use Google Gemini to power Apple Intelligence experiences moving forward. That's a whole separate video for a whole nother day, the absolute mess and the squandered lead Apple could have had with AI, but it now seems like they're falling back to their old pal Google to try and fix this colossal mess that is Apple Intelligence. Bloomberg also reports that we're going to see Apple continue to make an even bigger software push with their subscriptions and sort of their services category of business because of some of these other major problems. Because of some of their slumping hardware sales and because of the lack of enthusiasm, Apple's got to diversify that income. And we're also hearing because of some of their legal challenges with the App Store and some of their antitrust issues and some of their weird dealings with Google, that Apple's going to start to try to bring in new money in with new services. So there's the new Apple Care One thing. Apple just raised prices of the Apple TV Plus subscription offering. And then also we're hearing that a new health-focused subscription offering should be coming pretty soon as well. So Apple is trying to sort of scramble everything back together. And speaking for myself and sort of reading your guys' comments, I think we're kind of on the same page. A lot of us just want Apple to regain its soul. I know that Tim Cook is trying to do things that's best for the company and best for shareholders in the bottom line, but sometimes maybe Apple shouldn't do that. Maybe they should focus on making really great products at really great prices and delivering insane value and insane experiences instead of insane returns for their shareholders. I think that bringing back some sort of design ethos, love or hate Johnny Ive, if he had that, would be really great. And I think doubling down on the iPhone experience and making it better and exciting, not just predictable, but actually innovative and exciting, would be a really wonderful thing to see. So hopefully this is good news. The iPhone 17 is going to be the last iPhone that we know in its current form, and it's going to be reborn and brought back in a way, as cheesy as that sounds, hopefully in a way that is way more exciting and way more worthwhile, and hopefully more like the Apple we used to know. So enough talking for me. What are your guys' thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the future of the iPhone? Your thoughts on Apple's new game plan for the iPhone, their software, their subscription offerings? Do you think Apple's heading in the right direction, wrong direction? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.